It's time for Recipe of the Day. Happy Friday, we made it, and I am celebrating with chicken wings tonight. I hope you are too. Now, for years, I've been telling you that the best chicken wings are my baked chicken wings that you toss with some baking powder and salt before baking them. They get really nice and crispy. I've said it so many times, you've heard me say it so many times. But then, a little while ago, I tried brining chicken wings in a saltwater brine. You know how obsessed I am with brining. It's so clear. I do it all the time. But for that test, what I actually did was I did chicken wings in a basic saltwater brine, and then I also did a brine that had a little bit of baking powder added to it and put the chicken wings in there. I was wondering, if baking powder changes the pH of chicken skin the way we know it does, which makes it more alkali and makes it more likely to brown up, what if it could do that in the liquid? Well, was it ever amazing? Those chicken wings were not only extra juicy from the brining with seasoning right through the meat from the salt water getting soaked up into them, but they did get nice and brown and crispy, better than just the brine without the baking powder, and better than those baking powder wings I've been raving about for years. I was amazed. And even better, the baking powder flavor was not there at all. I know some people are sensitive to that flavor, and I recommend using aluminum-free baking powder because it has less flavor, but sometimes you can still taste it a tiny bit. You don't taste it at all in these ones. So that was a game changer for me. It was the only way that I've been making wings ever since I figured that out, until recently when I decided to swap out my regular standard brine recipe, which actually I will link to for you here, the standard brine recipe in case you need it. But I decided to try pickle juice, pickle brine, the liquid that pickles are in, because, that's how Chick-fil-A supposedly gets their chicken so delicious and juicy. And I have a pickle fried chicken recipe on the Cookful that gets nice and juicy. And I wondered what would happen if I used the pickle brine, getting all that delicious flavor and juiciness, saltiness right into the chicken, but added baking powder to that. And amazing, delicious flavored chicken wings. Just a mild pickle flavor, but definitely good and tasty. But the skin got so nice and brown and crisp. It was incredible. You've got to try it. I'm going to tell you how now. You are going to start with 2 cups of pickle juice. I recommend dill pickle juice. And I also just recommend that it's a pickle juice that you like the taste of, from pickles that you like the taste of. But avoid sweet pickles here because we're not trying to get any sugar or sweetness involved in this mixture. To get the 2 cups of pickle juice, it's going to be the liquid from approximately a 32-ounce jar of pickles. You usually get about 2 cups from there. Now, if you do not have enough, you can make up the difference with that standard brine recipe and a couple things added to it. So to a cup of water, you'll add a tablespoon of kosher salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, and a 1/2 teaspoon of white vinegar. Then you mix that up, and then you just add that to your pickle brine until you have 2 cups. Then you are stirring 1 teaspoon of baking powder into that pickle juice in a medium-sized bowl. Then we're using this on 7 to 10 chicken wings, whole chicken wings that you're cutting into pieces. So you cut off the wing tips and discard them or save them for stock or leave them on. They're just not very meaty, so they're not great on the wings. And then you cut the remaining bit of chicken wing into flats and drums. So you will have 14 to 20 wing pieces. If you start with 7 to 10, you end up with twice as many wings. And then you put that into your brine mixture, making sure all the wings are submerged, and refrigerate for 2 hours. Now, you can add more wings depending on the size and shape of your container. Add as many wings as you want as long as they're submerged. And if they are not, then you need to add more pickle juice mixed with baking powder or more of that brine mixture mixed with baking powder. And just make sure they're fully submerged. Now, I'm saying 2 hours. I've tested this. That was the best amount of time. If you don't have 2 hours, 1 hour still gives you a little bit of nice flavor and that browning, just not as perfectly as the 2 hours. If you're going to leave them for longer than 2 hours, I just don't recommend it. They tend to end up a little bit too salty, and you don't want to go that far. So 2 hours is really the maximum. Okay, so then you're going to preheat an oven to 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Line a large baking sheet with aluminum foil. That just makes the cleanup easier. It's not really necessary if you don't mind scrubbing the pan later. Then top the foil with an oven-safe rack and lightly oil the rack. That's to help prevent the chicken skin from sticking to the rack. Remove the chicken wings from the pickle brine and pat them dry with paper towel. Arrange them on the rack in a single layer, and you're putting them into that low 250 degree Fahrenheit oven for 30 minutes. That helps to dry them out really well and gets that baking powder some extra time to start working. Then, without opening the oven, you increase the temperature to 425 degrees Fahrenheit and cook until they're nice and golden brown on top and crispy. It's about 30 minutes more. Pull them out of the oven and then flip them over because you'll see that they're not browned on the other side. Bake for another 15 to 30 minutes until the tops are browned and the wings are cooked through. Then you're going to take them out of the oven. Now, sometimes they do stick a little bit, so I like to use some metal tongs and really move quickly going under each one to dislodge it fast from the rack so that you don't end up with any of that beautiful crispy skin stuck behind on the rack. That is sad. Now you can add some fresh dill to these. 2 teaspoons of chopped fresh dill tossed with the wings right after they're cooked is lovely. And I really like serving these with some pickle spears just so people can really tell that this is all about that nice pickle flavor, you know? I will also tell you that instead of baking these, you can grill them or deep fry them. You will brine them exactly the same. You will pat them dry exactly the same. And then I'm going to link in the show notes to how to grill chicken wings and how to deep fry chicken wings. And you just follow those basic instructions there. Really, you can cook them however you like to cook them. If you have a way of cooking wings, they're going to work. Okay, I will put the link to this recipe in the show notes for this podcast episode, or you can head to cookthestory.com/ROTD and get it there. Everything there is arranged by date, so it's helpful to know that today is August 8th of 2025. And I'll just tell you, I love wings so much. I have a collection of over 20 chicken wing recipes over on the Cookful. If you are a wing lover, bookmark that page. I'll link to it for you. And anytime you are feeling that craving for those chicken wings, head over there and make those. Or when you're searching on Google, search for chicken wings, thecookful.com, and you will get them all that way. Really well-tested, delicious chicken wing recipes. I am Christine Pittman from cookthestory.com, thecookful.com, the all-new chicken cookbook, and from this podcast, Recipe of the Day. I hope you have a great day. Let's get cooking.